In this video, I'll show you exactly how to form Germany starting as Prussia in Victoria 3 with my new foolproof strategy. Surprisingly, Germany is easier than ever to form, even though Prussia was nerfed into the ground in the National Awakening update.
We're right off the bat gonna raise taxes to very high. Technology-wise, we're gonna start off by researching nationalism, then water to boiler, and after that, all the technologies for breech-loading artillery. Politics-wise, we're gonna add the petite bourgeoisie into government, so that now we can start enacting dedicated police force. We're also gonna build 3 construction sectors in Westphalia, and 4 in Lower Silesia. On a side note, Silesia was actually split in 2 with the new update, so instead of having one province now, there are 2 different ones, and Austria owns a bit of Upper Silesia. I think this is intended to nerf Prussia, since Silesia was probably among the best provinces in the entire game. We're also going to queue up 3 logging camps in Lower Silesia, and 5 in Westphalia, as well as some iron mines in both of those provinces as well, and all that followed by a couple of tooling workshops. And I also recommend building a couple of coal mines after that, since coal will be very essential for our industry. There are also a couple of other things that we're going to do, namely renegotiating the treaty with the Austrians. Because we want to attack the Austrians sooner rather than later, we're going to renegotiate this treaty so that it expires in 5 years instead of 15, which they will accept. We're also going to renegotiate the treaty with Russia, but this time we're actually going to make it longer and turn it into an alliance, which they will accept. Also, don't forget to reset your production methods to the best possible one. We're also going to immediately start improving relations with Hanover, Bavaria, and Saxony, but now we don't have any more influence, so I would recommend rivaling everyone that you can besides the French, since we don't want the French getting involved in any of our wars. This means that we can now also start funding lobbies in Hanover. This is important because Hanover does not start in our power block, which we want to get them into. Also, don't forget to upgrade all your military units. We're also going to improve relations with Great Britain, Russia, and as soon as you get some more influence, probably France. So now we can unpause. Yeah, so now we also get those journal entries, German national identity, and the Schleswig-Holstein question.
So essentially, the way the German national identity and the Schleswig-Holstein question journal entries work have been changed. The German national identity now no longer has anything to do with the percentage of German states with the nationalism technology. It now has to do with the fervor of North and South German cultures. South German culture has to reach 30 fervor and North German culture has to reach 40 fervor. That means that nationalism is no longer required, and hypothetically, Germany can be formed a lot faster. The Schleswig-Holstein question, on the other hand, all revolves around kicking the Danes out of Schleswig-Holstein. That means that no Danish primary cultured nation is allowed to control any part of Schleswig-Holstein. Not just that, but Prussia has to control a part of Schleswig-Holstein. This does make it a lot harder, since previously just liberating Holstein was enough, which you could sometimes even do without fighting Denmark.
Due to the fact that we raised our taxes, I highly recommend bringing down the price of grain and stuff, because if you go below the minimum expected standard of living, people will get very angry, which we currently unfortunately are. So I would like to get a treaty with Great Britain to improve my relations with them. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to get like a defensive pact or something, since Britain does like to get involved in wars that we might start. So if you ask for an obligation in a treaty, you will get the obligation at the end of the binding period, or in 10 years. So since we have it bound up for 5 years, in 5 years we'll get an obligation from them. And if we had more than 10 years, then it would not take that long. It would only take 10 years for us to get the obligation. So let's see if they accept. And it looks like Great Britain's union with Hanover has ended, because the British king died. This means that now we'll be able to get them into our power block. So from here on out, we're going to try to build a lot of leverage upon them. And one of the things that we're going to do that is make a couple of treaties with them. Namely, we're going to guarantee their independence, get investment rights in them, and also get a power block. But it looks like they really don't want to host a power block, so I'm also going to give them military assistance and trade privileges, as well as an obligation. Looks like they still only have a low chance of accepting, so I'm just going to add some goods transfers. And it looks like by just transferring a couple of tools, they're already guaranteed to accept. And it looks like Bavaria doesn't even like us that much, so I'm going to start funding their lobbies and also make a nice little friendly treaty with them. That being a defensive pact for 10 years. Let's see if they accept. Nice, and Bavaria accepts our treaty. So I think I'm now going to declare my war for conquer Schleswig. If you were to declare for liberate Holstein, you won't be able to add conquer Schleswig as a war goal. And it looks like we've been able to secure friendlier relations with a lot of nations, which means that now we are safe from anyone joining against us. So let's confirm this war. And since we have that treaty with Hamburg and Mecklenburg for military access, we now no longer have to build up a big navy to navally invade them like you previously had to. So I'm now going to add the secondary war goal of liberate Holstein, which I am going to make a primary in case they back down. And now that we're at exactly 79 escalation, a lot of countries have declared neutrality. To make sure that they either back down or that we get something nice after the war, I'm going to add Denmark as a protectorate. This will only give me 13 infamy, and this will be a very useful asset later. Yeah, so now we went to the countdown to war phase, and no one joined on their side, so now it's really just a 1v1. If you're recreating this and you don't see a deploy to front action, even though you have military access in either Mecklenburg, Hamburg, or Hanover, that is because there is no deploy to front action. You actually have to plan for an invasion of the enemy state the way you would with a naval invasion as soon as the war actually breaks out, so just don't be surprised. And now that the war started, we're going to plan for an invasion of Holstein, and we don't actually have to use a fleet since we have an available invasion via Elbe of Hanover. So we're going to select our main large army group. Just confirm this. And it looks like we got the London Conference event. This has to do with redrawing Belgium's borders. So if you don't know the real history, when Belgium was created out of the Netherlands, of course, were very unhappy with the deal, especially since Belgium got a lot of land from them. And in the London Conference, all the other great powers got to vote on how exactly Belgium would be partitioned. We can either favor the Belgian claims, which means that the borders will stay the same, and this will improve our relations with Belgium while damaging them with the Netherlands. We can also just favor the Dutch claims, which will give a lot of land to the Dutch, and it will also improve our relations with the Dutch. Then there's the 24 points option. This is the one that historically actually went through, and this is probably the best one for us and all the other German nations, since for every German-cultured country, we will get an extra 10 relations, so we're going to choose this one. And it looks like the Danes are leaving their northern border completely undefended, so we'll be able to march to Copenhagen very soon. And it looks like the Belgian claims are going to go through, but that's not important since we'll still get our 10 relations with all the German nations. And we've almost gained full control over Zealand. As soon as we gain full control over it, they should capitulate very soon. Just a reminder that as Prussia, you also are the owner of the Zollverein power block, which is a trade league consisting of almost all German nations, besides the Danish ones and Hanover, which we should be able to get in very soon. I do recommend keeping internal trade. Previously, internal trade used to be absolutely terrible, but now it's actually really good, giving extra convoys to the market owner and giving infrastructure to all power block members. I would recommend external trade if you don't have a lot of nations in your power block, but if you do, internal trade is obviously the better one. And it looks like now Denmark is willing to accept peace. We got all our war goals, nice. Now we own Schleswig, and Holstein is free. We are going to have to improve our relations with Holstein though, since we do want to get them into our power block eventually. It's also pretty funny that Denmark is now our puppet. I don't know if this was a good thing to do, because now we're going to have to deal with an annoying rebellious subject. And now we've also completed the Schleswig-Holstein question. Nice, and we passed dedicated police force. All that's missing now is to get North German and South German culture up to 30 and 40 respectively. As soon as we get that, Austria and Prussia, aka I, will become unification candidates and will be able to fight each other, and whoever wins, which will obviously be us, will be able to form North Germany and then also Germany. And it looks like we can now finally invite Hanover into our power block. We can even get them in without an obligation. So I think I'm going to start enacting landed voting. No one disapproves of it, and we also have a lot of political movements that approve of it. This will also make a lot of people more loyal, including people of the liberal and the German national movement. So we're going to start enacting this. Because I want to improve my relations with Holstein, I'm going to get this little treaty with them, where I'm going to guarantee their independence and also give them transit rights in exchange for an obligation. This should repair our relations. I also highly recommend not disbanding Krupp, because unlike previously, where it was quite a terrible company, it now also produces the Krupp Guns prestige good. This means that if we have units in our military that use Krupp guns, they will get really good positive combat benefits, if they are fully supplied by the prestige good, always look out for not having too many artillery or cavalry units. What I mean is that you can only have as many artillery and cavalry units as you have infantry units. This means that if we now have 27 infantry units, we can only have a combined 27 artillery and cavalry units, or we will get severe penalties to our organization.
And we got the Hungry 40s event. I highly recommend spending a little bit of money to reduce the impact of this event. Nice, and we passed landed voting. Now we also got the King and Parliament journal entry due to passing a voting system while still being a monarchy. If we keep civil war progress below 75% and don't switch off monarchy and landed voting for a total of 10 years, we'll complete the King and Parliament journal entry and we'll get a lot of loyalists, which will definitely be very helpful. And we now got our first election as well. We're going to do everything we can to bolster the momentum of the Progress Party so they get more votes. And we unlocked Water to Boiler. Whenever you unlock a new technology, they often give you new production methods, so I recommend every once in a while checking over and moving over your buildings to the most optimal production method. And the election results are in. It looks like the Conservative Party won an overwhelming majority. We also have enough bureaucracy to increase law enforcement institution level to 2 and education institution level to 3, and it looks like the Poles have seceded in Upper Silesia. We'll have no problem beating them since they have no soldiers. They will no doubt attempt to build some, but even a small army group of ours will be able to put them down. And it looks like since the Poles had absolutely no troops, we had no problems crushing their uprising. But unfortunately, we got the Polish Horrors event. This is an event that you'll get for most countries if you put down an uprising. This is a really annoying event and can give you a lot of infamy. In my opinion, this is probably the best option. We only get 10 infamy. Unfortunately, our relations with a country that you're friendly with, in this case Russia, will deteriorate a little bit, so I will get the Russians to vouch for us. And it looks like Denmark's liberty desire is low enough for us to be able to decrease their autonomy to puppet. And it looks like the pro-British lobby is giving us the opportunity to get a defensive pact with the British. This is something I definitely would like to get, and it looks like because of that event, they were even happy to accept, and I want to bind this treaty up for 25 years, since I don't plan on fighting them anytime soon. So let's see if they accept. Nice, and they accept our treaty. And right after these industrial buildings build, these barracks are going to get built, and it looks like South German culture finally got up to 30. It looks like we got lucky with the timing, and it didn't take too long. This means that starting from now, we can form Germany, and I probably should have done this sooner, but since our 5-year binding period finished 2 years ago, we can now finally withdraw from the Treaty of the Holy Alliance with Austria. The reason we are doing this is because we are going to go to war with them, and you can't go to war with a country that you have a defensive pact or alliance with. Unfortunately, this will create a 12-month truce between us, hence I would have wanted to get rid of it sooner. But now we're also actually allowed to launch the leadership play as soon as our truce is over. And it looks like that now Holstein is willing to join our power bloc. Oh, and look at that. Now they're no longer supporting Austria. We won the civil war that Bavaria was having that we decided to get involved in. That's nice. Now me and Austria are unification candidates, because if you don't know how it works, after resolving German national identity and the Schleswig-Holstein question, Austria and Prussia go to war, and whoever wins is allowed to form the North German Confederation or the South German Confederation, and then Germany proper. So it looks like now is an optimal time for attacking Austria for German leadership. Once we win the war against Austria, we'll be the sole unification candidate, and then we'll be able to form the North German Confederation, and then once the southern German states like us, we'll be able to form Germany proper. Just keep in mind the fact that I am not speedrunning the formation of Germany, so I'm going to confirm this war. If you want to, you can confirm all these wars a lot sooner, but since I'm also prioritizing building up a little bit of an industry, I'm taking my time. Even though we have slightly more troops than the Austrians, and our troops are also better in quality than theirs, since we previously made that alliance with Russia, I'm going to put it to good use, and I'm going to call them to my side with Call Ally. And since I have a lot of maneuvers left over, for only 5 infamy, I can get Return Austria and Lower Silesia. So the main problem right now is that Austria is fearful. If you're wondering why that's a problem, it's because Austria might back down, and if Austria backs down, we won't get Austrian Upper Silesia, but if we make it a primary, then they're less likely to back down. And now that we're at exactly 79 escalation, I'm gonna add Conquer Bohemia as a war goal. And war has broken out with Austria. This is gonna be an easy victory. Since we have Russia and a lot of German miners on our side, we outnumber the Austrians 2-1, so there's really not that much battle strategy involved. Just send all your troops to the front, set their strategic objective to Vienna, and turn on the best mobilization options for your units, and you'll easily win the war. And we now have full control over Austria's capital. Starting from now, their war score will start ticking down really fast. Oh, and look at that. Now we have full control over Bohemia as well. Their war score is below 0, and now it looks like Austria is finally willing to accept peace. There, peace at last. Look how big we are now. And here we get the event for forming the North German Confederation. It really doesn't matter too much which one you take. I recommend the bottom one. Even though the buffs aren't too big, popularity for random politicians is kind of insignificant, so I'd just choose the bottom one if I were you. There we go, and now we're the North German Confederation. We annexed all of the North German miners, whose states are automatically incorporated, and our color has changed. All that's left to do is to get the South German miners on my side so we can form Germany. And it looks like technically we can already form Germany, but the reason I don't recommend doing this is because Württemberg does not support us yet. So if we form Germany now, they will not be included in our Germany. So if we just wait a little bit longer and cozy up to Württemberg a little bit, I'm sure they will support us, and then we can form Germany with nice clean borders. When you unify Germany, you inherit a bunch of low-quality, bad units from the other German miners. So I recommend clicking the Upgrade All Units button. After a little bit of improving relations and getting a couple of treaties with Württemberg, they're now finally supporting us for the unification of Germany. So now we can click the button. And we also get the event for forming Germany. There, and now we're Germany. There you go. Now you know how to form Germany in Victoria 3. If you learned anything, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to the channel and liking the video. But we're not cutting off the campaign here just yet. If you want to see me do a part 2 where I get the remaining achievement for Germany, then get this video up to 20 likes. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.